Hello, I hope all is progressing well. Welcome to I Don't Know, we can talk about it. My name is Kevin Dufresne. Here in this space, we discuss varying topics responsibly, civilly, and of course, reasonably. To begin, we will discuss two areas of education. One seemingly larger than education, concerning, school safety. Whenever a shooting happens, any incident concerning human behavior that causes any individual to cause a reaction or response in a community, attention does tend to revolve around the situation. In Maine, rest in peace to any suffering. May the good folks thrive. The mass shooting, in accordance with statistics, about 4 more deaths within 24 hours. In relation to a particular incident, is cause for responses to prevent any situations from possibly occurring in any area, though in this instance, schools. What I think is so important in relation to prevention is to move from more of a reaction response stance to more preventative stance, which many people are arguing for. Many entities are working toward ensuring that safety parameters in connection to violence or any situation that any human may be responsible for that may cause harm to any one or multiple individuals, these incidents will not occur. These intentional actions of harm will not occur when certain measures are through to ensure safety parameters extend within one area that secure another area. In connection with laws pertaining to violence, particularly with certain types of weaponry, the protection parameters, the safety parameters can greatly expand when from the area of guns. Those schools are preparing response measures which contain many preventative measures to ensure students are not dealing with any situation inappropriately, considering the whole being, as well as the whole student body, whole faculty body, administration. Preventative measures can help alleviate many different types of stresses that may be affecting individuals within the parameters of a school environment. I think being able to secure a school, to secure a foundation, to ensure safety is not just priority, though a standard practically in form in an environment is a necessity. Whether that be gates surrounding a school, conversations around gates do occur about what that might mean for an individual's health concerning perception. A gate surrounding a school can also be very fashionable as well. I think perspective is important, and how one designs may really affect how others perceive, especially when designs come with explanations beyond safety. Of course, entities, individuals may know the gates are for safety reasons, though aside from security, the gates might look really nice. Whether that be a tall gate that is very difficult to come over, or a security fence that might have another feature or so, ensuring preventative measures during, especially, hours when individuals are on campus, on an educational environment's site. There are many ways that are in progress, that are already in effect, that prove very, very effective toward preventing safety issues, as well as toward encouraging healthier ways of being within an environment. Securing an environment means creating an environment that ensures individuals are aware of how secure each individual really is. So, I think preventative measures are very sound, especially when happening from within an educational environment. And I feel that any lines that may be in connection with safety will always be able to be better when whatever the lines connect to are ensuring the utmost safety standards, safety protocols, safety measures from those particular environments. Then the lines of connections become safer and healthier conversations may ensue even between the entities that may be in a particular conversation concerning safety, prevention, and any other type of situation that may arise that each environment needs to tend to appropriately. The next topic concerns a reading method that is multisensory. I think having a reading method that allows students to engage in many ways can prove valuable for a student's learning due to the amount of information that the brain is being able to handle. The reasonable measures. Students may find more avenues of learning available, even more so than learning avenues, learning approaches that make reading more interesting to an individual. Aside from the methods possibly being effective for reading, the methods additionally may prove very valuable and useful for other parameters of learning that may be in relation to reading, like writing, even speaking aloud when reading, versus reading to oneself. I think a multisensory approach of learning may allow students to develop a creative avenue or so of multi-purpose styles of learning, especially since one's senses may be effective and valuable in other forms, in other manners, with varying topics, within varying situations. I find that especially engaging with reading context, having myriads of grasping, sounding forms of connecting with the text can prove valuable. Hence a reason why I am a huge supporter of spatial development, reading with physical books, writing with physical utensils on paper. The idea is to engage within the spatial development, which really helps an individual grow in a way that allows an individual to become more aware, not just of the text, the context of life, branching from the individual in connection with the text, in connection with the environment one is within, that one may connect to in the future. The brain development will be happening on such a wonderful level, deep though well-rounding, and will be working so in long-term senses. So I find methods of learning that may be effective in myriad ways sound, especially with teaching, especially when people pick up on learning in so many different ways, the possibilities of when a particular style of learning may become effective may be happening at a latter time in life. So the value of that potential increases when an individual has wonderful exposure to wonderful context of learning. All right, thank you very much for staying with me. We're talking about in-text topics, and when we're talking about these intense topics with our context in text, it's very important to stay conscious and aware. Additionally, also to remember that the life we're living may always improve. I add this point because it's quite important to not feel an overwhelming sense when dealing with context outside of oneself that one may or may not have much control over. An additional point I want to add concerning conversations of situations that may be intense for individuals, even if the context may be present, even if the text in front of one is present, additional conversations branching from any situation, I think, can be very, very valuable for individuals that may have additional questions, that may have additional feelings to explore. And I think creating spaces to connect with those individuals in more of a private setting can be very valuable. In a small group setting where the particular individuals may want to meet, perhaps just one individual may want to meet, to discuss anything else that may be in relation with a topic that may be at hand in whatever form. Now we're going to do some origami. Ta-da! Today we're going to do an origami crow because I like birds, I like crows, and of course, we're going to start off with making our square. I start off with this rectangle base because this is the paper I have on hand. Though, if you are not starting from a rectangle base, then you will start from the square. This development is just to show people how to go from the rectangle to a square base. We cross over one corner to the edge, and then we fold up the leftover hanging portion. You can use it for notes, you can use it for labeling. However you want to use it, you'll have an extra rectangular sheet of paper here for your benefit. Next, this portion is the folding portion. So we're to make a bomb, a water bomb shell. Not just a bomb shell, but a water bomb shell. That's the term. Though some people might call it the diamond. So what we're going to do next is we're just going to fold our points here so we can make sure we get there easily, wonderfully, with no problem. So we fold from corner to corner, and we fold in half. So we're folding point to point, corner to corner, edge to edge, side to side. So then we have our fold like this. Next, as you can see, we can literally just press in our fold to be like this. So once we come in here, as you can see, we have our fold here. If you really look at it, it's just 4 folds, and we'll come in here. Lines that press in from corner to corner, we'll work along those lines that press in corner to corner. Next, we're going to fold in our portion, and I will be at a later point looking at instructions from the website where I received this information. So this origami style comes from an origami guide, and there's a portion where I will be looking for some instructions to ensure that the final product is exactly what is the intention. So here we go with this portion now. We go right here and just gonna fold it up. Okay, solid. So now that we folded left and right, we can take our portion up top here above this line and we can fold it. Now this crease here will help us make a long diamond. So we come here, we fold this top portion, then we're gonna come right up here, we're gonna open up the fold again. We're gonna open up the fold just so we come back to that water base. Actually, let's just call it the diamond base. And then when we come up here, yes, then we will fold it and get a long diamond. Yeah, I prefer to call this the diamond base. The water base, bomb base, is actually more triangular than diamond style. So that's why I'm making that correction now. So we come for this and we make a lengthier diamond from our base diamond. Okay, now what we're going to do here is, according to the instructions, we're going to fold in our legs. Now here's where it might get a little tricky. So here's where I go to the instructions about. So I make sure that I have the folds correct. I don't want to have incorrect folds. So after I make this step happen, I must also do this on the other side, where I fold in the side. So I'll have long diamonds on either side of this folding progress. Now that we're here, I fold in again on this side, and again I'll open this up, and when we come here, fold it in, and we have another long diamond. For anyone that might find these folds to be challenging, with a little bit of practice, you will for sure be able to get these folds down, right? So on both sides, we have diamonds, long diamonds. Next, we're gonna just follow the instructions here, and we're gonna fold up the leg points. So these are gonna be our feet. So these leg points that I'm talking about are feet. Okay. And next, afterward, just a little bit of a sure way to make sure that folds are happening correctly. After I fold it here, it says we're going to focus on the right side here. So basically we're gonna fold out. So the fold style here is fold it out so the foot becomes at an angle. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So now we have this, but the next portion is that we're going to open up this fold and press it down. So we're gonna open the flap, here we go, and we're gonna press the flap down. This is a tricky part because the flap is here and it needs to have more of an angle. So try not to make it too square, but give it more of an angle. So it's not gonna be too square. As you can see, the other one's a bit square. But if we bring it down a little bit, we give it more of an angle. Then when we turn in here, we're gonna turn our flap. Open the flap and flatten it into a sideways kite shape as shown. So now I'm opening this flap. Here I go. I gotta flatten it into a sideways kite. Feels a little 3D, but I'm opening this flap and I'm flattening it. Oh, now that looks a lot better. So one side actually came out a lot better than the other one. So I'm gonna try this again on this side. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna fold it here, then I'm going to open the flap up again. Here I go, open this flap up again, and then it gets a little flat. All right, so now, boom. It looks like I have some elf socks forming, and we're just gonna keep going because it says now fold the top of the flap down. So that means the next portion is where we're gonna just fold this part down here. We're just gonna fold this part down here. So it's like we have reverse flaps here, okay? And then we'll move on to the next page because this is a 4-page instructional piece. And so we get to figure out how we're gonna get this going. And we're supposed to do this on both sides, which I've done. So that's what the instructions say. Now, it says to fold the front layer downward. So we're gonna take this front layer, this is where we are. We fold it downward and we shall have our piece like this. And then we flip the model over to the other side from, well, left to right. So we're gonna open up the model here. As you can see, everything is coming forward. So we'll have our feet forward. We have our body that's developing forward here. Next, we're going to fix the head. So we are going to now take this head. We're just gonna fold it to one side. You see that? This is generally the way to work with it. We generally, with origami heads, we just take it, fold it to one side, then we open it up and we flip it. So as you can see, it's originally not like this, it's originally like this, and we just fold it to one side, all one side. Then we bring it back, we open it up, and then we make it in what they call an inverse fold. So you open it, then you just press it down, and voila, you get a nice little crease. It's beautiful. And so now we have our, well, origami Halloween crow. And the legs are supposed to help it stand. The backing is a little bit out, but it says try perching your origami on the edge of a table, which I can see that being kind of effective here. So perching it at the edge of a table. Okay, oh, there you go, you have a crow, and that's to be at the edge of a table. So the sturdiness of the crow standing may be reliant on the type of paper one uses, as well as how the fold ends up becoming in the long run. Of course, I want to remind everyone that I don't know, we can talk about it, works in tandem with the forum of piatures. So if you're not familiar with how to get to piatures, well, here's how you get to piatures, and when you get to the website, how you get to the forum, to use the forum where you can share your responses, your questions, comments, anything reasonably, civilly, responsibly, and I'll make sure to see the best route approaching the context. So please take a moment here. Thank you for joining me again, and we'll be right back to the main show after this informational session.
Hello, welcome to I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It's intermission point for www.piatures.com. Welcome to Piatures, where expression, the choice to express in the public sphere, is to bear in the wild your choice responsibilities, where beyond anyone and anywhere else, you will encounter yourself. Aside from Piatures, music, books I've read, publications, merchandise, and of course the About page, the Forum of Piatures works in tandem with I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It. So I encourage you to stay up to date via the YouTube channel, the podcast, or use the forums to be an active participant in future discussions or other discussions. I hope we can continue to grow together. Onward and Upward. Kevin Dufresne.
Welcome back to I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It. My name is Kevin Dufresne. Here's a safe space where we discuss myriad topics reasonably, civilly, and, well, responsibly. Our next topic concerns a book. I'm going to read the book from Piatures, actually. The title is The XX Brain, The Groundbreaking Science Empowering Women to Maximize Cognitive Health and Prevent Alzheimer's Disease by Dr. Lisa Mosconi, PhD. The text is a wonderful way to become more aware of women's mental health on a biological level, as well as in a long-term sense. Really long-term senses on more levels than just biological. The idea is I enjoy reading books that will help me become a more mindful, romantic life partner. So reading the text, I figured, the masculine, the biological male body development is quite different than a woman's, though there are very clear middle grounds between the two genders, purely male, purely woman, that are important to acknowledge. So a lot of the research that Dr. Mosconi is bringing to the table helps to navigate how one's health needs to be developing in a long-term senses, regardless of any gender, though, regardless of any sex, though concerning women particularly, there are areas that need attention, that men and women by data just develop differently mentally, not just on a physical level. So these acknowledgments are so important, go figure, largely in connection with how one treats one's being, one's body overall, one's being overall. So the text is very much so on the line of increasing awareness, as well as ensuring preventative measures are in place so that one is aware of how to approach not simply combating, responding, reacting to a situation, though preparing oneself to live a fuller, healthier life with the realities potentially in mind of what may happen if one does not take care of one's overall well-being. So I really like the text. I do find the text to be very valuable in approaching mental, cognitive development in connection with, of course, overall biological developments and overall well-being in practical senses, not just in informing senses. The practical side of prevention. And I think having these understandings on the table, especially within a relationship, can help individuals navigate what might be happening. What is one really going through? What is the extent of a situation? One situation may not be as serious as another. One point I really like to consider is that though one may have a symptom or a disease, one may not die from it, though one may live with it. It may not be as extreme, whatever the case may be, as one may think, due to having so much research, due to simply being more mindful of the bigger picture of what might be happening and what already happens in the world at large on a calculable scale, meaning we already have evidence and more evidence is coming to the table. I think a text of the sort is very valuable because it allows one to know here's a benchmark point of where we are, and of course, in the future, this is evidence that more people can become aware of as the evidence grows. Additionally, I appreciate the text staying in a very positive light to ensure that folks are aware of the fact that, well, life is very valuable, so continue living life regardless of any symptoms, regardless of any diagnosis. Just continue living a good life and continue finding ways, even aside from the ways the text mentions, to alleviate one's life of any stresses by living a good life in general, specifically for oneself as well, because everyone may need a different approach because everyone's lifestyle is different and bodies are different, mental processes are different, etc. Meaning that there are aspects of people's lives that are just very different from each other. We are all different. And people may have to tend to self personally in a way that another might not have to. So keeping such in mind not only helps the person that's taking care of oneself, though also helps an individual that may be on the outside approaching the other person to say, hey, look, that person has to do what that person has to do to ensure that person's development is very sound and well in all the best ways possible. Thank you very much for joining me for another episode of I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It. Onward and Upward, Dufresne.